Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
Information is power.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
The Information Man Show. The Information Man Show.
Tell the truth.
Tell the truth. Information is power.
The Information Man Show.
Tell the truth.
The Information Man Show.
Tell the truth.
The Information Man Show. Okay, everybody, what's up? This is Information Man. How are you doing? Welcome. This is a pre-produced video. I hope everyone out there is doing fine on this day, this night, this evening, whenever you're watching this right now. I'm going to talk about Kanye West. I'm not going to take up a lot of your time. As we know right now, Kanye West has been, he's on the Forbes list. This is a list that he's been trying to get on for quite some time. He's done a lot of complaining that they're not recognizing him. And as of right now, the billionaire himself, the billionaire list appears early this month. Again, with Kanye West being absent, still no documentation. And now the pandemic to boot, West again reacts with hurt and venom. This is a quote by Kanye West. He says, "You know what you're doing," he texts. "You're toying with me, and I'm not frowning." He's not, he's not taking it as a joke. He texts, "You're toying with me." At one point, he texts that Forbes was part of a group of media that was trying to suppress his self-made narrative because of his race. Now, let me just say this. One of the reasons why I personally think this is in poor taste at this particular time with Kanye West, coming out and gloating about being on the Forbes list of billionaires. Let me just read this too. 3 things became clear from this exercise. First, it was reinforced why we put him on a cover in the first place. West, just a few years ago, he has created a brand that challenged Nike. That's the old easy shoes, Yeezys, easy. Air Jordan for sneakers, World Supreme. It leads World Supreme. It's one of the great retail stories of a century. Second, it reinforces that West, who claims both in words and in his paperwork that he's worth more than about $3 billion. He boasts, he's boastful about this, just in a way, I guess, Donald Trump, who he is a fan of. So he's a fan of Donald Trump. He met with Donald Trump along with Steve Buck Dancing Harvey when Donald Trump got elected, unfortunately. So let me just say this. Does Kanye West owe the black community anything? I think there's some that would say he doesn't owe the black community anything because he's a self-made man. Now, first of all, I remember his first album, College Dropout. I supported that album. I still think to this day that the College Dropout album or CD, whatever we're calling it these days, I still contend that it's his best work outside of then the second album, the sophomore album follow-up, which was The Diamonds, which I thought was a brilliant album. But I still think that College Dropout, and the reason why I think College Dropout is his best album, because Kanye West was more humble. That was his breakthrough album as a solo artist. Behind the scenes, he had produced various people, but I thought the album really spoke to how humble he was, how hungry he was to be successful. And what happens to people, they gain these success, and sometimes some people, they lose their common touch. They lose their humbleness. They begin to let it all go to their head, and then the narcissistic personality, as someone who's a therapist in mental health, and I deal with guys who have these kind of issues. Kanye West has taken on very high degree of ego, what we would call a super ego, on top of the fact that he's got a narcissistic personality. And I still contend that Kanye West has never been the same since the death of his mother, due to the fact that she was getting breast enhancements, and it was due to his prosperity, his money, that it made it possible. And you notice from that time, he took a fall in his mental state, his behavior. I remember he had a concert at the Golden One Center, which is where the Sacramento Kings play basketball. And he came out and he sung one song and he left, and people in Sacramento went, "Buck, wow." I mean, he took some pretty bad hits. Then he was running around talking about black people made a choice to be in slavery, which was bullshit, because if you do your research, there were tons of slave revolts that happened throughout the South. There were slave revolts on the slave ship as they were arriving here against their will. There were even those on the shores of the continent of Africa who fought to the death before they would allow themselves to be placed on a ship. Then there were those who actually jumped off the slave ship to not be taken to a strange land we call today America, in which we speak English. So Kanye West has made a lot of bumbling mistakes, a lot of bumbling statements. I believe he went to Apple computer store in Washington, D.C., jumped on the table, started proclaiming things. And, it's just crazy. Then now that we're saying that he's a billionaire worth $3 billion, wasn't it just 2 years ago that Kanye West was begging and buck dancing and crying to Mark Zuckerberg, who owns Facebook, talking about he needed money because he was about $68,000 or something like $68 million. I think it was $68 million, if I'm not mistaken. He was in heavy debt. And now all of a sudden, he's gone from debt to the big shoe mogul with Yeezys. But when you look deep into this, look at the Forbes article, you find out that, what does Kanye West really do? Is he just a pitch man and marketer? Because it looks like he's making money, but does he really control this whole empire? Now, his shoe has been successful. Mind you, I believe it's overpriced, to be quite honest with you, everybody out there. But to each his own. I'm not hating, the man's got a shoe that's successful. More power to him. Let me show you something right here. He, in all of his glory, he's sending out the signal of success. This was on the Forbes article, and then there was a little video to it. You got Kanye West, got all these shoes. I guess these are all the shoes, all the different styles of Yeezys. I think he had some deal with Adidas or what have you. All the styles of the shoes that I guess he has produced along with them, or they have produced with his stamp on it. And so I just thought if you look at this picture, when I look at it from a psychological point of view, this is to me, grandizement. So you have something called, you have a grandiose personality, someone who thinks of themselves in a fantastic manner, makes up stories. And even those people who have legitimate goods and services like a Kanye West, you can tell he's over-absorbing himself in his success by looking at all of his shoes all around him. And I'm thinking to myself, was it really necessary to put every pair of your shoes all around you just so you can make a statement to the world? And at a time like this, when you have, and look at this picture, at a time like this, when black people are dying of the coronavirus, people are dying of the coronavirus, people are out of work, Kanye West, people are losing income, businesses are out of, hell, nobody can sell your shoes right now in the store because most of the stores are not open unless people are selling it on eBay, Amazon, and what have you. But at a time like this, to me, timing is everything. And I want to say that the timing of Kanye West's shoes and the success of the shoes and how he's self-aggrandizing himself and the fact that he is he's a billionaire, $3 billion. What I want to say is I'm not trying to put a brother down. I think any success that a black man can have in America economically is a powerful thing. But the problem is it at the expense of his own people? Now, some would say, don't whine, stop whining. He doesn't owe the black community anything. He's a self-made man. First of all, most black entertainers, whether it be the Jackson 5s or any black entertainers for the most part, they didn't get where they got if it was not for the support of the black community first. The black community was the one that was supporting Kanye West before everybody else knew who the hell he was. The Jackson 5 is the same. Every group, whether it be rap group, Public Enemy, X-Clan, you name it, LL Cool J, before these guys became what they become, it was the black community that put together their money to buy their CDs. It was the black community that was supporting these individuals. So to me, Kanye West is where he is, not only because of his own hard work, the hours that he puts in that most of us probably have never put in. I mean, he puts a lot of work in, from what I understand, into his craft, into what he does. And that's just, that's fantastic. But let's not forget that there's a foundation of his success. That foundation comes from his family, his mother, who, God bless her soul, she's not here with us anymore. And that's why I liked his first album, because in his first album or CD, Kanye West was more, I would say, cerebral, he was very conscious of where he came from, his humble beginnings in Chicago, how he got there, being in college, talked about his fraternity, KA Psi, Kappa Alpha Psi. I'm a member of Alpha Phi Alpha. So he resonated with a lot of folks that were in college, who have been in college and were in college, like myself, and those that were members of black fraternities and sororities, and those that had come up the hard side of the mountain. Kanye West talked about how he had a bad car accident and he had to have surgery on his jaw. He couldn't talk. I mean, those sort of songs that he sung about, those rap lyrics, the things that he did, that really resonated with a lot of people. And that's really what start to rise his success as an artist, because black people really locked on to his message, because in that album, the first few albums really spoke to us. After that, things start to veer off as he gained more success in his career. Then, like a lot of these artists, they begin to go into producing clothing. Now he and I wish I had the picture to show you, but remember some years ago he came out with a clothing line and people were laughing and saying, hey, it looks like slave clothing. Okay. And so Kanye West has had some bloopers among the way. Then he started talking about a bed and furniture as it relates to IKEA. And then IKEA, I think, literally trolled, and I mean literally trolled Kanye West, making fun of him and his ideas, and some raggedy bid that he came up with. So, this is a guy who's tried to push the envelope of his success, trying to get into avenues of clothing, fashion, what have you. I mean, more power to him. But once again, I must ask the question, why is this relevant to black people? Why would Kanye West's success be relevant to us when his success as a billionaire has not really benefited the community? You don't really see Kanye West coming out and speaking out in terms of the black community as he once did before. He sort of has gotten himself caught up in the mega hat wearing of Donald Trump. He's been very critical, saying that I'm going to say it again, black folks accepted slavery, which was total bullshit. Kanye West, to me, when he first came out with his first album again, remember, I can go all the way back to when Kanye West made those powerful statements about one George Bush Jr. when you had the Katrina incident where George Bush Jr. did not put his foot on ground to where the people were. His administration waited for, at least black people were on the grounds of Katrina down there for a week before food and water was gotten to them. And Kanye West made a statement, which really at that time made me really say, man, I'm rocking with Kanye West when he made the statement that George Bush Jr. didn't care about black people. And then just a few years ago, maybe 2 years ago, Kanye West took that back. I had a problem with that. That showed me either he's evolving or he's evolving and getting dumber, or what's happening is that the more money he's making, the more success he's getting, the more narcissistic he's become, the more self-indulgent and self-focused he is. So Kanye West, in a lot of ways, represents one of the issues in American society, which is really a Eurocentric paradigm, which is think as an individual, do for self. And there's nothing wrong with doing for yourself. You must do for self and be responsible for yourself above all things. But the Eurocentric model is that you are only to focus on yourself and only you. Whereas a more Afrocentric perspective and point of view is to look at yourself, but to look at the whole inner workings, the interconnection that you have to your God, to the spirits of your ancestors, to yourself, to your family, to your community as one. I mean, when I was in college, I took a class called pigmentation, learning about melanin. And the professor threw a quiz at us, but one of the things he was saying, part of that answer to that quiz is that I am because we are, and we are because I am. It's about being interconnected. And so Kanye West, somewhere down the line, as he was chasing for success, you saw him on reward shows, snatching trophies or rewards out of Taylor Swift's hands, always boasting. To me, there's nothing wrong with having confidence as a man, being a little cocky, but you can have confidence, be a little cocky, but not be annoying and irritating. And I think Kanye West has become that as he became more and more entrenched in his success. Now, once again, Kanye West's success in being a billionaire, for him individually, it makes him feel good. It's what he wanted. He got what he wanted, even though he was pretty much being a fly, irritating the behind of the Forbes magazine corporation. And they eventually said, let's give this Negro what he wants, make him happy, tell everybody you're a billionaire now. And the thing about this tells me why Kanye West psychologically is very fragile, has a very fragile ego. And most people who are narcissistic personalities have very much a fragile ego. This is one of the reason why I know it. Because most people that are legitimate billionaires or people that are very wealthy, they don't spend a lot of time saying, hey, Forbes magazine, why you don't have me on there? If you are a billionaire and you've got the money, then just go on with your life and do beautiful things with that money for yourself, for your family. Now, it would be nice if some of these self-proclaimed or these billionaire black entertainers would do a lot more with their money to invest in things that really benefit black people. Because let me be honest with you, his shoes, the Yeezys, that, you know, they're comfortable, they're nice. So some people think they're nice. They're overpriced personally. If you can get them, you know, at a cheaper price, go ahead, do what you got to do. You know, it's whatever you know you feel that you want to do. But let me just say this: his shoe line doesn't really benefit black people. I think part of our problem in America and as a people is we consume too much. We are too much consumers and not enough saving of our money, not enough investing of our money, and spending our money on things that we need instead of things that we want. And that's sort of what Kanye West represents in my mind as it relates to the shoes and everything that he's pushing. And now he wants the whole world to know that he's a billionaire. Now, what I want to say, in continuing my statements here, is that black people right now, you got 20% or more unemployment in America. People, the unemployment offices are jam-packed. People are unemployed across racial lines. Black people are been hit hard. I mean, black people are around, what I've heard Tone Talks talking about this. We were 16 million in the labor force. Black people probably have taken a hit of between 4,000 to 5,000 or more. So a lot of black people are taking a big hit in this crisis right now. Not to mention that a lot of black people, amongst other people, according to reports, are coming down with the COVID-19. And also you got black people who can't afford not to work because, first of all, we don't have generational wealth. We don't have the $1 billion that Kanye West is bragging about to everybody in the world. And this is in poor taste. I think Forbes as a magazine, magazine that pushes business and all of that, I think it was in bad taste for them to put this out. And I think it was in bad taste to the black community as well as America in general, because this is not a time for self-aggrandizement. I'm sorry, it's just not a time for it. Let me also say this. I know everyone's been talking about the NFL draft that's been happening online, and I don't really care about the NFL draft right now. I don't think that's really what's important. Bless the young men that are going to make their money if they're able to get back on the field and play football again, given whenever this situation gets over. But personally, I don't give a damn about football or basketball, any of that. These are the things that we don't need right now. What we need, if there's a positive with the COVID-19 situation, is that it's forcing us to really reflect. Some of us, because some people ain't gonna get it. Some people out here not even wearing a damn mask still, folks. But what it does is it forces us to really reflect, if we are that type of a person, on what we really need to do and what's a priority. We're learning. You're probably learning. I'm learning for myself that certain things are not a priority anymore. I mean, I already had gotten rid of cable television, but do you really need to be a consumer? Do you really need to consume and run to the mall, spend your money in the bar, spend all your money up on things that you don't need, spend all your money up on clothes that either you're going to be too big to wear in a couple of years or too small to wear, depending on what you're doing with your body, yourself, and you're going to end up dumping or giving away to Goodwill. We spend a lot of money on things that are not necessary. And I think as nice as the easy shoes are, they make you feel cool. You're in the in crowd. You feel popular because you got them Yeezys. They're still a waste of your money. What it costs to make those shoes is not what they're selling them to you for. Let me read some more of this Forbes article. let me see right here. It says, finally, and perhaps most critically to Kanye West, it does not confirm based on our estimate that his stock in Yeezy indeed makes him a billionaire. Now, this is important because he's saying he's a billionaire. But Forbes is saying in their final analysis and their review and taking a critical look at to confirm, it's based on Forbes' estimate that his stake in Yeezy indeed makes him a billionaire, but over 1 billion actually. So they're basically, they're being cautious, but they're basically saying that yes, okay, he's got over $1 billion actually. Now, when you think about being a billionaire, folks, this is where people get it mixed up. Don't just think in terms of liquid money. Usually when people of this ilk have a lot of money like this, they're looking at the overall wealth of the person, what we call assets, property, not things that are just necessary. So Kanye West may be a billionaire, not just in paper money, but it might just be his whole assets on top of what he has, paper money. That would be investments, all the different things that Kanye West is involved in. Now, Forbes magazine said this: in the process, we can now share more details about Yeezy than ever before revealed, as well as some insight into what drives his extreme creative, egotistic 10-digit artist. This is what they said, folks. Yeezy is a complicated asset. West owns 100% of it, but it's functionally tied at least for 5+ years based on a document that Forbes got their eyes on. That document is linked to Adidas, which produces and markets and distributes the shoes. And this is very important. This is something that Brother Tone Talks was talking about on his show, and I want to say shout out to him. This is very important. Kanye West is worth $3 billion. He owns the shoes outright, as it was saying. He says here, in the process, I'm going to say this, Yeezy indeed makes him a billionaire, the shoes themselves. But in the process, Forbes magazine found that they said that we can now share more details about the Yeezy than ever before revealed, as well as some insight into the which drives the creativity of Kanye West. Now they say here, Yeezy is a complicated asset, even though West owns 100% of it. But there's a but. And what is that but, everybody? That but is this: it's functionally tied at least for 5+ years based on a document that Forbes magazine had a chance to access, that Adidas is the one that produces it and markets it and distributes the shoes. So if Adidas is actually producing this shoe, distributing this shoe, marketing this shoe, then what does Kanye West really do? Now, right here, the shoe would finish 2019. These are the 2019 projections of what the shoe made in revenue. The revenue was at about $1.5 billion. Adidas would not comment then or now. Per recent conversation and internal documents, Forbes believes that the final revenue number ended up close to $1.3 billion. Now, Forbes sources indicated or told them that last year that West's agreement calls for him to receive a royalty around 15% of Yeezy revenue from Adidas. Upon closer inspection, it appears that some expenses are carved out of that slice, bringing his actual cut closer to about 11%. At that rate, he would have received, or Kanye West received, a royalty of over $140 million from the Yeezy sales just last year. 2019. West's aggressive $3 billion self-appraisal is clearly based on his idea that the business is booming. It's portable. It's okay. Well, check this out. Taking Yeezys away from Adidas seems almost prohibitively cumbersome. Okay? Cumbersome. If not contractually impossible, a safe way to value as a royal stream, like music publishing or films, multiple base data from services like royalty exchange and reports of large private transactions can range from a low as 3 or 4 something. So let me just, I'm going to stop it right there. Forbes gets into their complicated numbers, their information. It's pretty good information. I would say read the Forbes article for yourself. So with all that said, keep that in mind that they really are the ones that control the marketing, the production of the shoe. He's getting a handsome amount of money. But this, to me, is in poor taste at a time like this when people are out of work. People don't know when they're getting their checks. And some people haven't even gotten their stimulus checks is what I was really trying to say. Okay? Some people are working if they are essential, and there's some people that are not. So to me, this was a poor time to push the narrative, in my opinion, of Kanye West. I wish the brother much success. More, I mean, I have problems with Kanye West. I don't like some of the things that he has said. I disagree with a lot of his antics, but I think the question begs to say that does he owe the black community? Now, some people would say, no, he doesn't owe the black community anything. He's a self-made man. Why does every black person that becomes rich, that becomes wealthy, why is it that they have to carry the whole black community? That's what some would say. I still contend that Kanye West's humble beginnings was the humble beginnings in which it was black people who put him over the top, that supported his album, that really propelled him. Because usually white people or other races of people, they don't really latch on to black artists until they see black people latch on to them. They see that black people give them validation, because historically and currently, black people in America, we are the ones who truly set the trends when it comes to what's popular in America, whether it be music, art, the whole 9 yards. Black people have always set those trends, and usually what people do is they follow suit. I'm old enough to remember when rap music first came out. I go all the way back to the early 80s. I used to break dance back in 83, 84, and there was a time when white people and other groups of people did not like rap music. Who put rap music on the first map? It was black people. And then once people saw that we put it on the map first, and that we made it hip first, and then when people saw that they could make money from the art form of rap music, that's when they begin to say, oops, let's follow this trend and we can make money off of it. Just the way they stole jazz from us. Remember, jazz was created, jazz, ragtime, all that was created by black people. And then surely but surely, other groups of people come in after we make something popular and they begin to infiltrate it. So Kanye West, yes, brother, you are a billionaire. You can boast about it. You could surround yourself by all your thousands of pairs of shoes at a time when people who look just like you are out here, don't know how they're going to pay their rent. They're probably going to get kicked out. You got brothers and sisters from the continent getting kicked out of China, being mistreated, and what have you. I think this is not a time to brag about your wealth. This is a time to be humble. This is a time to think about those who are less fortunate. This is a time to use the power of your wealth to transform those that are in need, particularly those in your community, or donate to programs that are helping people in your community. Okay. Once again, Kanye West can do actually what he wants to do. We don't own him. His money is his money, but certainly there are plenty of black people who, and black people, adults and kids, who are spending money on buying those Yeezy shoes, which has contributed to his wealth and his success of selling those shoes. Black people, once again, we put the rubber stamp on making those shoes cool. The rappers, the everyday black person, which causes other people in American culture to follow suit. I'm going to say it again. Black people in America are the ones who set the trend. Even when it comes to fashion, where do you think they getting fashion from? They get that they've always stolen and borrowed and used and studied the fashion of the urban environment, how black men dress, how black women dress. They get all the pop culture clues. Has always come from us historically. That's the truth. That ends my podcast for today. I thank everybody for the day, tonight, whenever you're watching this, folks. Thank you for watching. I'm about to get on out of here. You know, you got what you want, Kanye West. You are a billionaire. Much success to you, continued success. But however, this is just not the right time to be boasting about your success when so many people, particularly people that look like you, brother, are catching hell with this coronavirus. Everybody out there, thank you. This is the Information Man's. Peace.
Tell the truth.
That's right.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
Information is power.
Peace.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
The Information Man Show. The Information Man Show.
Tell the truth.
Tell the truth. Information is power.
The Information Man Show. The Information Man Show. The Information Man Show.
Tell the truth.
The Information Man Show.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
The Information Man Show.